Perhaps thinking like a man is a better way to think. I have to admit, as a passionate, equal rights kind of girl, I think a lot. I mean a lot. In fact, I schedule time into my day and my week to make sure that I have time to do this. I think every day when I work out, I think every day when I walk, I think things through in my journal. I even set up my unconscious mind to think things through when I'm sleeping. And I was thinking the other day that perhaps all this thinking is not always the best thing to do. And that got me thinking. I remember talking to my brother-in-law, Paul, about the differences between how men and women think. And he came up with a really great metaphor. Paul said that when women are walking around in between work, looking after the children, going shopping, cleaning up, whatever else they do in their day, what is going on in their head is something like, right, I've got to do X, Y, and Z. Oh, I've got to pick up the kids. Oh, I've got to remember to send that report to the client before they get there on Friday. Oh, I hope Sarah didn't get offended that I didn't make it at the weekend. I really need to start thinking about what I'm going to do next year for work. What are we going to have for dinner tonight? Oh, I hope my little sister's okay. She's having a really rushed time of it at the moment. When am I going to get time to relax? How am I going to manage to do everything this week? He then said, when men are walking around in between their work, in their day, maybe they're eating, shopping, sleeping, looking after the kids, whatever else they're doing, what is going through their head is we laugh because it was funny. We laugh because it was spot on. Now, I'm not saying that either way of thinking is good or bad, but it did get me thinking. It got me thinking that perhaps each one of the different types of thinking has an advantage at different times. So what really is the difference? Well, you could say that men don't think that much, which may or may not be true. I came to the conclusion instead that actually it is not that men don't think, it's that they don't think like women. The way that men think is different to the way that women think. And we all know that, and this is just an example of that. Perhaps the better question to ask and think about is, when is it better to think like a man, and when is it better to think like a woman? So on my walk the other day, I started thinking about that question. I came up with an important time to think more like a man. When doing tasks that maybe you're not so comfortable with, stepping into the unknown, like a lot of elements of running a business. And that got me thinking, why was it that a majority of successful entrepreneurs are men? And maybe the key to answer this question is something to do with one of the things that has affected me chronically in the past is my tendency to procrastinate and be a perfectionist. And in the past, it stopped me taking action that I wanted. And it's something that I'm always keeping an eye on. My focus always on a daily, weekly basis is, how do I take more action? And how can I leverage the action that I'm taking? My trail of thought got me thinking that perhaps I could leverage the way I take action, sometimes by behaving more like a man. Maybe I'd find it easier if I didn't think so much about what I was doing, as this is my natural female tendency. Instead, work out what I needed to do and then just go and do it. No more thinking, just action. I really do believe that this is the difference in the way men and women think, plays a major factor in how successful you can be in business. In fact, so much so that I'm now incorporating a strategy in place that any outcome in the team that the team I work with goes after, they think through what needs to be done first, set out the results they want, and then they just take the action to do it, and they don't do the thinking whilst they're taking the action. And this is the context, like thinking like a man, and it's helping me and the people around me to take more action. That said, there are times when thinking about what is going on is also critical. And I've been writing in my journal for a long time now, and it's one of the things that's fundamental to how I make decisions, take action, and enjoy every day. I guess the trick is always to be flexible. Be flexible and being able to use whatever is appropriate in the key moment of what you're trying to get done, and use both types of thinking. So a fair sex assessment. When I suggested my theory to my brother-in-law, we had this quick discussion about it, and I think we kind of agreed on the point. There was a time and a place for both types of thinking. After that, it was something I mulled over for a few weeks actually, and now I've written this blog post as a result of that. As for Paul, my brother-in-law, he didn't give it another thought.